That's all right. I'll go this way. Okay, you guys, we're gonna start back up with the open mic because it looks like we have a full house today. So it was basically standing room only, and I'm so glad you all came for this. I want to ask our participants to hold their reading strictly to 5 minutes or less today because we got 12 people on the list, so we got a big one here. That'll give everybody a chance to read, okay? So if you go over, we're going to ask you to stop, so please be considerate of all the readers and keep your time to our request, okay? What's that?
Will we have to stop mid-poem?
Mid-word.
Mid-word.
Mid-word. Mid-syllable. Okay, so I'm going to start you off with one little poem. This is a little ditty that I call Solitary Existence. Insignificant. Amid the towering concrete and glass structures and mid-town shuffling pedestrians, I live, virtually unnoticed. My sturdy stem struggling up through the crack of a weather-weakened crease of the seemingly never-ending squares of this man-made walkway. My delicate yellow petals hungrily reaching for the sun, undisturbed, except by the passing gusts of swirling city dust on their way to settling in dark corners of trash can cluttered alleys. Oh no, watch out, thwack! A passing foot kicks me into oblivion. Thank you. Okay, so,
yeah.
You wanted to go first before
Well, I didn't
Connie?
want to go first, but it got changed.
Oh, okay, but I'm gonna bring Connie up first, if that's okay.
Right.
Is that all right? And I'll put you
No,
second.
she was up
Okay, I
first
just
on the
want to tell you guys that we have such a range today. We went from having a 15-year-old to now having an 89-year-old. 88? Okay, I'm sorry, she's a young 88. Sorry, Connie. Now, is this your first time reading in public?
Yes.
Her very first time reading in public. Please welcome Connie James.
Hey, Connie.
Will you help her?
Well, I think it's appropriate because age before beauty, and that's me.
For age and beauty.
Well, 15 is pretty beautiful. And this is my first time. And the title is Shahina Speaks, which is the feminine side of the Jewish God. Now in the valley, my life is singing. I've lived in his womb and been born to speak of it. In fashion, my loins have hugged his waist. The air was perfumed with our flesh then. Now the valley, my being, is quite within his belly. He has kissed my breast and stilled my brains to dream only in the distance of the stars. For even without our child, I loved him in alteration. I knew him before I lived in this valley, as if it were all. Yet the sun shapes the moon. Always in the sameness, they are one. Now my being is sometimes pushing toward a pin that once held the earth and knows of its greatness. Then the valley winds become restless, for it is in sleep I know the contentment only peace beholds. For in his land stars bear the wonder, and time between is in our hearts. Excuse me, I left the...
Was that it?
It's in our hearts. For in his land stars bear the wonder, and time between is in our hearts, where the voices of the dove are sweet. I live in this valley now. I found it not so long ago. The path is true for me and should be for him. It is where seeds never are forgotten, and there are no tears amongst my being. I felt the shadow and the sun. Still I am the same through love, growing like a flower who adapts its path to the use either of shadow or sun, still remaining a flower. So look for me, I'll wax and wane, and with your worthiness, and thus we will unite within the light. Shalom.
Oh.
Thank you, Connie. You are a poetry virgin no more. Okay, so now please welcome our co-host, Charles Castle.
What a great session today. Great session. So I got a couple from the past week or so. Wrote this one to honor my friend James Otter at Page 2 Poetry for 2 years of being MC and getting through a very difficult winter where the poets didn't want to come out into the cold. So fortunately it is spring, and this poem is called Birthday of the Nine Muses. The old voices are speaking again. These are not the voices that commanded Raymond to stand in the center lane at rush hour, or convinced Pat to stop her meds and walk the canyon edge at midnight. They're not the voices that told Northside Norman he could fly from the Burnside Bridge. These whispers are a subtler form of madness, no less demanding. This mania in heavy traffic, this pill of dreams on the abyss, this pair of wings over watered arches, a pen as a passage home, a paper seance on the perilous edge, a river rescue under a bridge of words. Let us search for ghosts where there are ghosts, and where there are wild borderlands, let us run. Our gods and monsters will hunt demon saints for pleasure. Let's stalk these nights, both vagrant and homeless, and bask in moonlight as pauper princes, kings, and queens incognito. Call the attendant entities on unseen wavelengths to these fires where we gather. The fire we burn in, the light we are, and the light we are becoming. Imagine as you will, and we will imagine more with you. Our dreams, our doors, our dreams, our windows. Become the songs that sing themselves. They will take on lives of their own. They are our children. Set them free. This is not just spring. This is the birthday of the nine muses. Light the candle and sing the song of the age we're in. Let us wage peace on the world and become the voice of the child flying free. knowing, getting, letting go. When you knew that the sky had no edges, and you knew by watching the birds there were places to go. When you knew Alaska was not a small house in New England, and you knew the top of a mountain was not a broken church on a desert of belief. When you knew by watching the ocean that there was mystery in deep places. Then you came to a place of getting, where you thought about getting out of the cold and into a kiss. You thought about getting to Oregon in that small house with a garden. You thought about getting a job. You thought that children could get you to pray. You thought about getting them shoes and into better schools. Later, you got a divorce. You thought about getting something from the top of a mountain where you went to let it go. And you knew how to do it by watching the sky let go of clouds. When your children had children, you let them go. You let the kiss go. You let the job go. Your parents grew old and you let them go. On the beaches and the mountains, you held their ashes and you let them go. You let them all go into the mystery of deep places, the next place to visit.
Woo!
Thank you, Charles. Wonderful stuff today, huh? Okay, next up is Diana Stearns.
Her first open mic. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yay.
Hi. This is a love poem to the D. Wright Observatory. Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Come closer, Diane.
I am utterly overwhelmed by the beauty of Mackenzie Pass Scenic Highway. I had to stop as tears streaming down my face and my chest feels like it will explode. Never have I felt so humbly proud to call this amazing beauty home as I do right now. The dusting of snow on the red cinder soil greeted me at the top of the Mackenzie Pass. Coming around a tight right corner, there it was, like a memory of a dream. The Castle Rock lookout I had forgotten from my youth. The pine trees, green, stands boldly out, contrasted by the flood of yellow and orange underbrush as I undulate down 3,000 feet of tight, sensual curving road that rocks my body with each curve. I am trembling from the experience of rocketing through a postcard beauty landscape beyond reason. Okay, this is scary. The second one is called Shadowboxing. Google Maps brought her back to him, either by fate or chance, that sunny fall morning. And there he was, just after she had thought of him. And like a moth to a deadly flame, she pulled over and stood too close up next to him. They strung along their past lovers like a soiled and twisted rosary, with a late-night text, a passing glance, a soft caress, just enough to keep them on that chain, but never enough to make their beat of love glow again. Just enough to give a glimmer of hope, but never enough to feed a soul starving for the love that was withheld with a quiet and cold resolve. She wanted to rage against him, to judge him for his behavior. But alas, with glimpses of frightening clarity, she saw the rosary matched her own. He leaned his tall and toned body against her car and attempted to bait her, with rating her lower in comparisons with the sexual prowess of his recent crazy and broken love. She bit her lip and let him, choosing not to tell of her own recent love and loss with a sexual superstar. They were both standing there, single, and nothing would be gained from the telling. Most likely their twisted, broken souls deserved each other. They had shared a passion and their own type of reserved love. Thankfully, they had both broken free of an intoxicating sexual spell. In truth, they both were terrified of the other's power to hold the broadsword that cut through the bullshit or to cut the heart. As she drove away, they both whispered, "Dodged a bullet."
Diana Stearns, another poetry virgin deflowered. Okay, now Joshua Mertz, I know you're not a virgin. Come on up here.
Good job. You might want to adjust. Yes, please do. I shall.
Thank you, Stephen. I can never pass up an open mic. By the way, 1 month from possibly today, the featured poets next time are going to be Jeremy.
Yay!
And me.
Yay!
Yay! Jeremy, give me a hand back there. Should be fun. And I realized that I'm going to be reading heavy stuff next time, so I brought 3 humorous poems. Let's see. Okay, we'll do this one first. Squids got nothing. Cats got their nip, dogs got their wood, humans got their kind and they try to do good, but squids got nothing. Fish got their chips, roses got hips, even good old Mick Jagger's got lips, but squids got nothing. A big ugly bag of watery pulp and hideous tentacles that make you gulp, unblinking eyes to flip your lid. That's why nobody likes a squid. Lawns got mowers, leaves got blowers, every grain of wheat's got sowers, but squids got nothing. Cigarettes got their packs and thumbs got their tacks. Folks in Great Britain got their Union Jacks, but squids got nothing. Let's see, we'll end with Pablo Neruda. We'll come here to Getting Old. I don't know why I wrote this. Got a rash on my butt, life's in a rut, and I got an ever-increasing gut. But ain't it ever so wonderful to grow old? Less hair on my head, my crotch thinks it's dead, and all my youthful hope has fled. Ain't it ever so wonderful to grow old? Am I losing my mind? Have the years been unkind? Or am I just worn to a nub by the grind? Questions and doubts arise when you grow old. Smiling all the while as my memory goes, my belly's so big that I can't see my toes. At least this beats dying, I suppose. It's grand and it's sad and it takes a long time to grow old. And anybody here not know who Pablo Neruda is? Pablo Neruda is this fabulous Pulitzer Prize, amazing Chilean poet. God, I love his stuff. Surrealist, fabulous. His body several years ago was exhumed, dug up from the ground, because they thought he might have been poisoned. So they dug him up and tested his bones, and I don't know what happened. But I was on a poetry website with some friends, and somebody said, we should write poems about Pablo Neruda. And we got these beautiful, eloquent, irreverent poems about Pablo Neruda, deeply moving. So I wrote, I dig Neruda's bones. I fear that my poems will always be cruder than that dead famous poet named Pablo Neruda. His verses were plentiful and surrealistic, and his imagery haunting and somnambulistic. An ambassador once to the United Nations, he must surely have sampled 100 libations, and eaten of figs, and sang with the moon, and danced with the ladies from midnight to noon. Well, the poet is dead now and not soon forgotten, but his poetry lives, though his body is rotten, and the earth drinks the soul of that Chilean Buddha, that dead famous poet named Pablo Neruda. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Joshua. Okay, next up is Leslie Rell. Leslie Rell.
All right, come on, girl. Yeah.
It's really, it's okay.
What's that?
It's really, really,
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry, it's what?
really. R-E-L-L. It's okay.
Really? I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. I'll
Got my
answer.
agent on, looking like you.
Okay.
How's that? Is that good?
I think so. Yeah. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I only brought one poem. Okay. I brought a poem that hopefully you haven't heard before. It's called Invasion of the Yard Guys. You better hide your pets and pray. The yard guys are on their way. Like it or not, we have not a choice. They come in their trucks for the powers that be. You better escape before they arrive, and don't return home before 4:45. With mowers and blowers, earphones and edgers, the yard guys are here today. With trimmers and weeders and tanks full of gas, the noise and the dust are a pain in the ass. So close all your curtains. You don't want to peek. The grass may be low, but they mow every week. The birds and the bees fly away for the day, avoiding the noise and the fumes from the spray. Branches are cut and sidewalks are cleared. Carports are swept by the yard guy's knee. The leaves are all piled and taken away. And it happens, oh God, every week on this day. No one will hear. If you do try to speak, nothing will change. It's the same every week. And don't even dare leave your chair on the lawn. For next time you look, it will surely be gone. I did with a group of local women, Joan Dobie, a group of us, and if it's okay, I'd like to read another one from this book.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, because we had some pretty interesting ones in here. Okay, let's see here. Okay, this is called Eunice Burdick Ritchie Fowler by Annetta Becker. She was 4 feet 10 inches tall, enormously overweight, with daughters that used to jiggle the fat on her flabby arms as she played the piano. She was not a Norman Rockwell grandma. You know the one, where Granny spreads the table with a sumptuous feast. She never shared a meal or even a cookie, always saying she was saving it for Shorty, her alcoholic husband, with hand perpetually formed around a beer can. Saving it for Shorty is still mockingly said by our family if we decorate our clothes with a bit of spilled food. I am grateful my grandmother was not my mother. Her moods changed swiftly. Punishments were brutal. She locked her children in closets, threw knives, pounded heads with hairbrushes, seldom cooked, was a hypochondriac. Grandma had gentlemen guests during the day, had a 9-pound stillborn baby. My grandfather was not its father. She made doll clothes, baked birthday cakes, grew beautiful flowers, had patience for beautiful gardens. Children were just too hard to tend. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Leslie Relly. Okay, so next up is Jennifer Tucker.
Jennifer.
Thank you. Well, I'm kind of a poetry virgin, I guess. This really is great fun. I'm enjoying this enormously. This I call the knowing look. That knowing look that passes between two expectant mothers pushing strollers down the morning sidewalk of suburbia speaks worlds without words through the eyes. That knowing look that passes between the long-married couple at the wedding feast as the toast is offered to the bride and groom speaks worlds without words through the eyes. That knowing look that passes between those boys at the back of the classroom when lovely Marlena bends down to pick up her pencil speaks worlds without words through the eyes. A knowing look that passes between the parents at the college graduation when their last offspring walks the line speaks worlds without words through their eyes. That knowing look that passes between the woman and the mirror as the laugh lines become less important than the laughter in the eyes speaks worlds, as does the knowing look that passes from the mirror to the person, loving truly what is there, recognizing soul without words through the eyes. Two more. My newly painted kitchen, freshened with new color, a toasty mocha hue. My kitchen made me smile. The painter, a working man with skilled strokes, gladly revived the dingy room. He asked too little for his work, then installed new lighting just because he saw the need. I happily paid him, then added new cabinet hardware to complete the updated look. Feeling pleased, I chose to gift him the old hardware, still good, then called to request his return. In shock that I learned his nationality had sent him north beyond the border, fleeing deportation laws because of his birth. My newly painted kitchen now has a very different look. My anger barely contained as I cook. This is perspective. Narrow cobbled lane, gutters littered, front doors flush with the street. A red plastic geranium in the soil of a window box isn't fooling anyone. Catching dust, fading out. Who would suffer such an abuse to the eye? My 20-year-old self laughs rudely at the blatant sham, a foolish attempt at gentility. My 60-year-old self nods approval, recognizing a triumph of spirit that faded plastic boasts.
Thank you, Jennifer. So I guess this is the day of the Poetry Virgins. All right, who do we have next? George Kaufman. Come on up, George.
Hey.
I recently published a book called Accidental Spirituality, and I'm going to share a piece with you from it. I almost miss the Forsythia. It's early on a Monday morning in April. I'm doing my Qigong exercises, looking out the picture window at the small forest that my study faces. I concentrate, breathing in and out in rhythm with my postures, keeping balance, remembering the movements, drifting between focus and instinct, losing, then finding, then losing again that space where the mind surrenders and movement enters. I am 15 minutes into my practice. Suddenly my eyes are no longer seeing an undifferentiated forest of green, yellow, white, and brown. There in the center of my vision is a large forsythia bush in full bloom. It's been there all along, and I have been blind to its presence. Outrageous yellow reaching in all directions, tendrils stretching to the rising sun. This early harbinger of spring sings out to be noticed, and I almost missed its song. Nature is not the only place where our focus can be so narrow that we miss the essence of the experience before us. There is a Good Samaritan training exercise that illustrates how the urgency of time can override intentions and form can triumph over essence. In the Good Samaritan exercise, each selected trainee is instructed to go to the building next door where an audience is waiting to hear the trainee speak on the subject of compassion. Some are told they have plenty of time to reach the building down the block where their lecture will be held. Others are told they're already late and should hurry to their destination. What the trainees are not told is that an actor, disguised as a drunk, has been placed on the sidewalk between the two buildings. Those trainees who were told they had plenty of time stopped, gave comfort to the actor, offered money, and showed a desire to help. Those trainees who were told they were out of time hurried to their destination, ignoring the actor in order to be on time for the appointment to lecture on the subject of compassion. Whether we are talking about nature's beauty or the human condition, we are so goal-oriented, so acculturated to being on time, that we often miss the nuances that enrich life, deepen experiences, and open new possibilities. We reward punctuality, even when the consequences of punctuality reveal the fragile embrace by which we hold on to our core values. Of course we want to stop and be helpful. We consider ourselves as compassionate people. Unfortunately, the urge to be punctual overrides our essential nature in favor of short-term goals. It is when our priorities become muddled that we risk stumbling. Only later do we realize the short-sightedness of our decisions and how we have been kept from our goal because our anchor values have been overridden. When that occurs, we need to stop, reorient ourselves, take a breath, and slowly exhale. By reframing our experience, we can use the obstacles created by changed circumstance as an opportunity to reinforce our core values. What else have I missed? A smile, a chance encounter, disguised beauty, a cry for help, the silence of friendship, the strength of a partner. As my exercise is finished for the morning, I vow to find all the forsythia in my life, the ones I trampled down in my haste to move on, and the ones that must be cultivated to be seen. I vow to slow down the course of my life so it can be appreciated instead of scanned. Maybe, just maybe, I'm the forsythia bush waiting to be discovered. Perhaps I'm the one on the sidewalk needing compassion.
All right.
Awesome, great stuff today, huh? Thank you, George. So I'm not going to have to worry about the microphone too much for our next reader. Andrew Gonzalez.
Yo, 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 how is everybody doing? It is poetry evening tonight, and I appreciate being with all the virgins here. Gotta say, that young featured poet I really enjoyed as a still somewhat young person. I feel like I've been waiting my entire life to hear the phrase, like a boss, in a poem. Your brain functions like a boss. That's
Yeah.
so. Last time I shared some Dada, my example of Dada, which is just all over the place, free associative, and this time I'm going to share a poem inspired by my good friend Karen, who I care about very much, and I hope it's encouraging in some sort of way somehow. Toked another bowl with the purple-haired mad woman I did, sitting in a chair as she unloaded. Neurotic, psychotic, bipolar, schizophrenic, she's got a host of diagnoses and fights to breathe above them. The thoughts come tumbling in streams, teeming with memes, ping, ping, pong, arguing, struggling, the head in the hands, trying to soothe a mind that cannot be massaged to be made smooth, but can only try to see a way through like a diamond that cuts true and asks, where are you? Right now, literally. And what is going on with the body? The head has been traveling, unraveling, heaven and hell like nightmares and dreams unfurling from arthritic wrists. You are here, but you went somewhere, which is fine when it's benign, but you gotta have a way back when maps crack and facts lack the right knack to come to. Answer the question, where are you? Literally, in your body, and what is actually going on? She looks up, smiles, gets up, and boogies in the sun on the lawn. There are levels and degrees to too far gone. On some of them, the view is bright and clear and serene. It opens up like a warp in space. And there, the grace to live with one's affliction peeks through. Dancing on the lawn, the dawn can't help but dawn on you. Dreamer awakes when the head feels the feet. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much.
All right.
Well done, Andrew. Okay, Jeremy is,
I love the show, that guy.
well, yeah, he's trying to save me in trouble, but I just want to say he's going to be our other featured reader next month, so.
Yeah.
Jeremy Cook.
The pressure.
The pressure.
Oh my God.
Only if the ego is there, right?
Right on.
But aren't we egotistical just by being in a body? I am I, you are you.
Who are you?
What's between? An echo who says, what are we going to do now? So my friend Karen, who Andrew has known just as long, will be wrapping up this poetry event. So I think... Almost. And I think she's inspired me to try to be poetic without a page to stick to. Ever since I've known her, she's been able to have the courage to do what I'm trying to do. So I'll say that I've been struggling, like most everyone in the world, between a sense of deep peace and subtle anxiety. And trying to get off that roller coaster. I think call that spirituality, searching. Went to a Center for Spiritual Living today.
Yeah, right.
And there was a lady named Linda, and she had this to say. She said, "The spirit is intelligent, malleable, ever willing, and also stupid." Because if you tell your spirit that you can and you will, and you're confident, then your spirit will say, "You can, yes you will," and you're confident. But if you tell your spirit, "I don't think I can, I'm scared," then your spirit will echo that sentiment.
Yeah.
So, what spirit is, I think, seems to have been happening lately. Whenever I see. Should I stop now?
No way.
Bend over. Now that's like jail spiritism.
Not that, the other one.
Oh yeah, okay. Is it
That
this
one, yeah.
But yeah, sorry. Trying to find that balance is tricky, but I do believe we can if we want to. And thanks for listening. I enjoyed your poems, the ones I could actually listen to, because I'm so stuck in my head a little bit. But the heart is opening more, and I'm glad I can share with you. So I'm sure the next person will probably, if you fell asleep, you won't be afterwards.
Thank you so much, Jeremy. You know, what he was talking about was basically spontaneous, because spontaneousness is something that as poets, you know, we all can relate to. But Karen Dahlier is very special in that she comes up here to the microphone and just creates poetry on the spot. And she's been doing this for years, and she managed to get some of it written down, and I managed to publish it for her. So
I'm going to get the full collection.
Karen is a unique poet, and as you can tell, Andrew was talking about her, and so was Jeremy. So she's the second to last. We have one more after Karen, but please welcome Karen Dahlier.
Hey, wow. Can I take this off here and stand in front of the podium? Because you know me. I'm a very spontaneous person. I try to be. Hey, what's up? Yeah, I have to tell you, a marvelous thing happened to me tonight. And I owe an apology to our first reader. I have been battling in my head since I was a tiny baby with schizophrenia. I had childhood schizophrenia. I've been locked up 65 years. I turned 65 this year, at the beginning of the year. And, you know, it was really traumatic because what I did a few months ago was well, actually it was the early part of last year, wasn't it? That I decided to stop taking my medication. I've been on antipsychotics since I was 6 or 7 years old. And I've been institutionalized since the age of 11 until 65. Not directly all the time, of course, but the thing is, you know, right now, I'm very aware that you're here, at least I should be. I'm looking at you now. You know, it's like, I'm going to write you a poem right now as I speak. It's like a piece of a jigsaw puzzle that you stuck in your mouth and sucked the life out of it. I was a child, frightened and really insecure, but inside was a whisper of a little ant. The ant was so brave and bold that she sang songs that nobody else would. And she did things that she could only imagine doing. That she was isolated though. And in that isolation, she perceived herself as a different being and actually tried not to fit in. And the aspirations and the dreams that followed in her life, I have to tell you, they've all come true. I've been writing poetry since I was 6 years old, and I mean real poetry, not just, I'm not saying other children, other people, but there you go, you see, right here, the left side of my head, the little saboteur, you see. So, anyway, here it goes. So, the stream of consciousness bathes my soul. In apparent reality, I listen to its tender voice value. In aspects, it is like a patchwork of heaven. And in our eyes, we see all around us faces that we've never seen before, each our own reflection. When you look at a snail, look at living, but remember how it is when you accidentally press your foot and crush its tender shell. And squirm, how ugly. Can we not appreciate that? Poor snail, who is so demeaned and unappreciated that even though it is an equal being, and by that I mean the light within all of us is the same. Measure by measure, not quite. It is as big as the sky, which has no boundaries, no religion, no aspects of financial attributes, eyes that kind of like stalk the sky, those sensitive little eyes, like a slug or well, worms don't have those, but they do have red blood. I found out one day, and in a paradox of reality, a worm severed on the walkway to the dumpster one morning. My God, I had no idea that it had blood. And it was a sea of blood. And I put there was a little attachment, but it was mostly severed in half. My spirit has been that way, and I cry, free me from this cage. The last time I tried to kill myself was just a few months ago, the day that Donald Trump won the election, a dark night for all of us, and for sure the distance between my eyes and his may be a little obscured. I am trying very hard to love everyone. And, you know, as a Jewish person, would you believe I'm trying to forgive Adolf Hitler and see beauty in that tortured soul. Now, we can look at the future, we can look at the past, we can look all around us, and actually what we can do is dance. And I'm going to make an invitation. Katie Piercy is no longer the mayor of Eugene. I don't know who is, but I'm wondering if we could have, we can wear paper underwear like I do because of my incontinency all my life. But I would love to have, why not, a paper underwear day of Eugene. You love that, Tammy? No, I was small, youth size. You know what? I'm going to be very honest with you. I mean, one of my greatest attributes is my honesty. Double Aquarius. And I do love you all. I really do, each and every one of you. And if Donald Trump was sitting right there, and he had met the young Iranian or Iraqian girl that I saw in Costco the other day, I swear, Muslim women, I don't know about the clandestine part, how many of those poor women have suffered that, but actually, every single Muslim woman I've seen, in my heart, is the most beautiful woman. They radiate beauty, and the spirit of life flows through them. Allah bless, that's all I have to say. The universe is content to dance and sing. When somebody cries or scrapes their knee like a child, we are lifted up. And into the heavens, into which regards we spell the words that are ancient, tongues that are twisted, eyes sewn close together, lips woven with words and speechless, mindless action. If we could connect ourselves, featured our titles, indeed, the entitlement of being human. What makes us so different than other beings? Somebody mentioned that today. Well, I don't see any difference. And, you know, there shouldn't be. As far as I know, I'm an ambassador from another planet. I believe my mother and father were intimately relating on a spaceship that they had stolen from another galaxy. I'm pretty sure of that. Anyway, I want to thank you for letting me share. And let's have a paper underwear day. If it's raining, that's a little bit of a problem. So it has to be on a sunny day.
Thanks.
Thank you for sharing, Karen. Okay, so it's time for our last open mic poet,
All right.
and that is John Olson.
Oh, Johnny.
Hi there.
Hey, John, looking good.
She always says that. I usually bring a guitar along. I've been doing things I call rhythmic imagery, which is I put rhythms behind my poems. So I'm going to try to remember a couple for you. This is one I just wrote recently, and it goes. I don't think I have a name for it, but it goes. Let's see if I can remember how it goes. I'm used to hitting a couple of notes here.
Do you want to use it?
No.
No?
You'll be sorry. I didn't say I could play it. But let's see. When the angels woke, they walked upon the water, upon tiptoed feet, beneath the swaying reeds in the sleepless city streets. The homeless, the forgotten, the danced out repeats, fell sprawled downward outside one's reach. Between the yellow pages and the dusty volumes of time, beneath the gilded throne, just beyond the room where the children play. Under the shadows, silhouetted by the moon, amid the lingering moments that end this day, the long light shines over, around, and through the clear-edged cracks that whispered secrets to me and you. In bottomless, pitless tones, sacred, consecrated words to those compelled home, those who heard. Nevertheless, again we rise, undaunted we soar, like the Spanish Main, crazy as hell with the glory of war. We endeavor to obtain that which was ours, that which now no longer remains. Usually I'm singing that, so it sounds This other one I can probably remember a little better. It's called Twilight of the Idols, and I wrote it about when I was in college. And Twilight of the Idols is a book that Nietzsche wrote, and so it's kind of my take on existentialism. It goes, Twilight of the idols, stars and sun, I believed in you. With you I became one. Yet last night death knocked at my door, and I must have been the fool, for I gave an inch more. Universal Father, Father of all time, save me from the greedy clutch of my own grasping mind. Deliver from me the evil, so that I too might seek truth in a dream of you. Yet my words are empty, drowning in themselves. They quite simply left little to be understood, just worn phrases carved in wood. While romantic illusions danced about my head, I stood silently still in roots of what I'd said. I was born, bleeding from birth, yet deep down within, steps of my earth, fresh and new, again I begin.
Oh, no.
I'll leave you with one that's a little lighter note. It's called Our Love Will Live On Long After Others Are Gone. Upon philetaceous seas, enhanced in wonder's delicacies, the heart lives on, outdoing time, your heart and mine. The rich, deep color danced before my eyes, and love like a flower sways beneath fluttering butterflies. I stand in your garden, silent, full of sound, filled with desire. I felt all around, warmth from the fire we have found. Thank you.
Okay, that was just great, you know? What a diversity we've had here today. I want to thank you all for coming out to our event, and I hope you'll join us again next month and the second Sunday of every month for this fun event. I want to thank our readers again, Michele, Graf, and Cicely Blackwell. And I'd also like to thank our poetry virgins. We had a great time. So thanks again. See you next time.
Thanks, Stephen.
Stephen and Charles.